What's up, Financial Zen Masters? All right, part 3 of the 4-part series on how to retire in 9 years. Today, I have one of the coolest things I have ever given you. It's totally free, and I cannot wait to share it with you. I'm going to give you a good walkthrough of it, too. It's a calculator, so you can figure exactly how much money you need to retire and how soon you're going to have that much money accumulated. Oh, boy. But first, welcome to the Financial Zen channel, where the big question is, how can you, a super successful, hardworking overachiever with kids at home and a mortgage to pay, how can you quit your 9-to-5 grind to go pursue your passion while still providing for your family? That's the question. I got your answers. I'm Rick Valenzi, a certified financial planner, the founder of Financial Zen, and your guide. Okay, so let's recap real quick the last 2 days. Number one, first step is to change your relationship with money. Make sure you are respecting your money. Those pennies that you step over on the ground is a representation of your time. Do not waste your time. Do not waste your money. Pick those suckers up and then go invest them. Part two, make sure that you keep strict accounts. Make sure that you know where your money is going, what you are buying and what you are wasting. And in places where you find yourself wasting money, stop wasting it, and then make sure you go invest that money so it grows. Okay, third part, and I'm just so excited. Okay, so the third part, the third rule is to pay yourself first. Now, this is not a Rick Valenzi thing. I'm sure you've heard this a million times before from a million different places. Let me explain exactly what it means. What pay yourself first means is you get that money, right? You get your paycheck. Before you spend a nickel, save it first. Go put that money in your investment account. Go put it in your 529, put it in your 401k. Make sure you're maxing out your 401k. Put it in your HSA. Whatever it is, save the money that you need for retirement first, and then spend what's left. What most people do, almost everybody, is, but not financial Zen masters, but what everybody else does is they get their money, they spend what they want, and then whatever's left over, they save. Now, how do you pay yourself first? If you first you max out your 401k, you max out your HSA, you set up automatic contributions to your kids' 529s if that's a financial goal of yours. Outside of that, then you can set up automatic transfers from your checking account where your paychecks arrive every 2 weeks and transfer that money into your savings if you need to build up your emergency fund, or into your outside brokerage account to be invested, hopefully on some form of autopilot. Okay. And that's it. And then whatever's left over, that's what you have to spend for the month. Okay. So directly correlated with that is knowing how much you're spending. That goes back to yesterday. You need to know where your money's going and how much you're spending, because that will determine how much money you need to retire. Okay, I'm really excited about this. Hang tight. I got to pause the recording while I pull up the worksheet. And then, oh man, just do. Okay, are you ready? Drum roll, please. I can't drum. Okay, welcome to your Financial Zen Workbook. Let me start by saying this is available to everybody. You may save a copy to your own Google Drive by clicking the link below and save the copy. And I want you to. This is invaluable. Okay, so let me walk you through this. So let me start first by saying the three things. There's 4 things. There's 4 things you need to know in order to make these calculations. Number one, how much are you spending? Number two, how much are you saving? Number three, how much have you already saved? How much money you already got? And number 4, what's your ongoing long-term rate of return on your investment portfolio? Okay, those are the 4 things you need to know. So what I've given you on this amazing worksheet is just that. So here's the data point. Here's the data center, financial data. You can pull this up. You put in your projected rate of return. If you're a Financial Zen member, you probably already know this. If you're not, check with your Wealthfront account. They should have some sort of target rate of return. If you're just willy-nilly picking mutual funds, then by all means, please give us a call so we can talk about the proper ways to invest. Anyway, but you should know your projected rate of return. If you just invest in an S&P 500 index fund, you'll likely get the historical returns has been about 10%. So that's why I use 10%. If you're investing correctly, that should be your long-term rate of return on your money. Okay, next up is the savings. How much are you saving? Annual savings is whatever you're putting into, just a regular brokerage account. 401k contributions, that's pretty clear. HSA contributions, if you're doing that. If your company offers ESPP contribution, and then feel free to make this some. You can add additional rows. This is meant to be yours and a tool for you to use. So if this doesn't cover all the different places you're saving, feel free to add to it. Expenses, and then where's all your money going? It's a handy little breakdown to break it down, but just to make sure that the most important thing here is to get the total amount right. The rest can be a little bit wishy-washy, although it is nice. The more detail, the better. So housing expenses, mortgage, property tax, insurance, etc. Discretionary spending, non-discretionary spending, spending on the kids, and then just other stuff, maybe vacations and whatnot. Make it your own though. And then working assets. So here's what I mean by working assets. We also call this, for our members, we call their financial Zen funds, in the sense that this is money that you will generate income from when you do retire in 9 years, okay? So this is not, you don't include equity in your house, you don't include your kids' 529 plans, you don't include money that you have set aside for some sort of renovations next year, buying a new car or whatever it is. This is strictly money that you will use to live off of when you do retire, okay? So keep that in mind. So we got the obvious players, we got your 401k, your IRAs, HSA, which should be a retirement account. If you haven't watched those videos, then go back and watch some of those videos. But your HSA should absolutely be your retirement account. Do not spend that HSA money. Your brokerage account, and then your emergency fund. Okay, so for our sample's sake, this is Joe and Susie. So they're saving. They're only maxing out their 401ks each year. They're getting 10% returns on their long-term portfolio. Their expenses are about 160 grand per year, and they have saved 800 grand so far in total. So what does all that mean? Well, let me show you. Okay, that transfers over to your Financial Zen Scorecard, which is where all the answers are. So here is Joe and Susie. Oh, I got this wrong. Okay, there we go. So here's Joe and Susie. So first up, their Financial Zen number. This is what your Financial Zen number is. This automatically will transfer from that data page, so you don't need to do any work. It'll be pre-populated for you. They're spending 160 grand per year on their living expenses. That's why it's so important to know, because that tells you how much they need to have saved. If they are spending 160 grand per year, they need $3.2 million in the bank invested to be able to live off of that for a lifetime. So what I tell our Financial Zen members, you give me $3.2 million of yours, and I will give you 160 grand per year forever. Okay, so that's the math. Now, the actual math, I don't want to get too bogged down in the weeds on this, but the actual math is you want 10 years worth of living expenses, if you've heard me talk about that during the passive income week. And then the long-term bucket is how much you need multiplied by your rate of return to replace 160 grand per year. So if we go back, for instance, and they're only getting 9%, let's say in their portfolios, maybe they're a little, let's say 8%, maybe they're a little bit conservative. Then you'll see these numbers change. So now they need 2 million, right? 2 million times 8% is 160 grand per year. See how the math works? So now they need 3.6 million. So now you can see how everything ties together. Okay. Maybe the even more interesting one is your Financial Zen years, which is how far away you are, given all your current variables, given all your current parameters, from saving that 3.6 million that Joe and Susie would need. So that 3.6 million transfers over to the Financial Zen years. That's the goal. Joe and Susie are currently saving $39,000 per year, right, in their 401ks. They are already saved in their Financial Zen fund. There you go, $800,000. Okay. And as we already discussed, their rate of return is 8%. Now, this is what's called a simple time value of money calculation. I showed you in other videos how to do this with online calculators, but I thought I created this for you because I thought this would be a pretty handy tool to be able to work with yourself. So you plug in all those into the old calculator, and you get Joe and Susie are currently 15 years from retiring, 15 years from having 3.6 million saved to support their current lifestyle. You with me? Pretty cool, right? Okay, then we come down here, two more pieces of the scorecard, financials and income. This tells Joe and Susie how much money, how much income they can generate from what they have already saved. So they've already saved $800,000. That means they could replace $35,000 worth of income, 35 and change. And then just for an added level of detail, that means in their living expense bucket, they would have 355,000 and then 444,000. So that's how the 800,000 would be broken up into that 2-bucket system, which I'm sure you watched the passive income video. If you haven't, go back and check it out. Just search 2-bucket system, and I think I'm the only video that pops up. Okay, so that's fun to watch, and that should be fun to watch for Joe and Susie to watch grow. And then finally, we just have sort of a very broad check-in. If Joe and Susie need 3.6 million and they have already saved 800,000, that means they're 22% there, 22% to 33.6 million and being able to retire. Okay, now, as if that's not enough, actually, let me show you one more thing on the progress report. Now, what we're also doing for all our Financial Zen members within this, the one our Financial Zen members use is a little bit more in-depth than this. This is just meant for sort of public use. But we do this for both of you. So our Financial Zen members also then track these numbers on, oops. There we go. Then we're going to track these year over year. So one of the other things that we always get is, I labeled these wrong. I changed it on another one that I was futzing with. Progress. So then you're going to track these year over year, right? Where you can then say, okay, we're going to plug in. Maybe you want to improve things. Maybe you're looking at your expenses on a daily basis. Hopefully you are. Maybe you decided to increase your your automatic savings contributions, what have you. But I would recommend manually entering all of these in for 2021, whatever your current numbers are, and then checking in at the same time, 12 months from now, same time next year, and logging your 2022 numbers, and then calculating the difference for your year over year improvement, YOY improvement, your year over year improvement, so that we're trying to gamify your finances so that you can feel the accomplishment, you can feel like you're making progress, you can see the progress that you're making on an annual basis. Okay. Now, full circle to paying yourself first. This is how you can virtually guaranteed. I'm not going to say guaranteed because the regulators would string me up on my thumbs if I said that. But this is how you can calculate how much you need to save, how much you need to pay yourself first from every paycheck to be able to retire in 9 years. Check this out. Okay, what if analysis. So this is, as the name implies, what if you spent less in your annual expenses? What if you reduced your annual expenses by, let's say, Joe and Susie reduced it by $2,000 per month, right? Now they're spending $24,000 a year less. Their annual expenses have now changed to $136,000 from where they were, right? Okay, that gets them down to 13 years. What if, because they're now saving that money, what if they make sure that they're now investing that money and that now their savings rate goes up by 24,000? Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now, what if they, the Financial Zen Fund is intended really for spending decisions, but maybe Joe and Susie are going to get an inheritance of some sort. Maybe, Susie's aunt passed away, unfortunately, and so she's going to get some money. Let's say, they're going to add 100 grand to the pot because of her great aunt. Now they're down to 11 years. Finally, let's just say that they watch all the Financial Zen videos, all the investment guides that we put out, and they're like, you know what? I'm actually very comfortable driving in the fast lane because I know it's just as safe as the slow lane. It's just going to get me there faster. So we're going to bump that up to a 10% return on their money. Boom! Now they're at 8 years. They just made it. Okay. Now let's say that's too much, and they're like, you know what? We don't want to cut back on our lifestyle that much, so maybe we're just cutting back by $1,000 per month. Let's see what that does for us. Okay, 24,000. That means we're only going to save an additional 12,000. Oh, there we go. We got there. 9 years. Boom. So what if they don't get that inheritance sum? Maybe that doesn't happen. Okay. Well, now they're back to the drawing board. Maybe they cut expenses. You see how this goes. It's just what you're willing to sacrifice. Let's say they cut expenses by $1,500 a month. Now they're negative 18,000. Now they bump up savings by 18,000. Does that get them there? Oh, pretty close. Okay, not quite there. Let's say if we do 20,000. and bump it up 20,000. There we go. There they go. Okay. So now you know Joe and Susie, if they get comfortable investing their money in the fast lane instead of the middle lane, and they reduce their expenses by 20 grand per month, and reducing your expenses by 20 grand per month is really easy if you're paying yourself first and then just spending what's left over. So all they need to do is say, okay, we're going to save an extra 20,000 per year, which we get 24 paychecks in a year. That means we got to put away $833 from one of our paychecks, or split that down the middle from both of our paychecks, right? Per paycheck, and that'll get us there. And because that money is now being saved, we know, and we're spending what's left instead of spending first and saving last. Now it's going to be really easy to reduce their expenses by 20 grand per year. You see how that works? Isn't that exciting? So this is as simple as it gets. This will help you calculate exactly what you need to do to retire in 9 years. But again, full circle, it all starts with knowing how much you're spending right now. So it's super important that you are actively using your Financial Zen portal. If you're not a Financial Zen member, then go sign up for Mint or YNAB or any of the other account aggregators out there. There's a few of them, and track your spending on a regular basis. You have to know what your ongoing 12-month expenses are so that you can know how much you need. And when you know how much you need, you know how much you need to save to hit your target retirement years, whether that's 9 years, 8 years, 7 years, maybe it's longer. Maybe you really love what you do, like I do, more power to you. Anyways, but it's all in the math. Okay. All right. So I hope that was helpful. Hopefully I worked really, really hard for you to make this as simple as I could think to make it. If you can think of any other ways to make it even simpler, please, by all means, let me know in the comments. But hopefully it's simple enough that you can go download your copy, click the link below, upload it to your own Google Drive, plug in your own numbers, and let me know how far out you are, what your Financial Zen years are in the comments, and then let me know what you're going to do to get it down to the number of years that you actually want. That'll be fun. I think that'll be really fun. Okay, if you had an aha moment, please make sure you leave a comment. Like I said, tell me your years, tell me what you're going to do to get it down to what you want. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And if you had a moment of clarity and a light bulb went off, please make sure to give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.